Let me ask you something. Have you heard of Peter Behrens? When we talk about modern architecture, we often hear names like Mies van der Rohe, Walter Gropius, or Le Corbusier, but interestingly, Peter Behrens is not mentioned nearly as often. And yet, in many ways, his office was where the seeds of modern architecture were planted. So naturally, we should be curious about him, right? Before Gropius and Mies became famous, they actually worked in Behrens' studio. Around the same time, the young Le Corbusier was also observing this new industrial culture that was developing across Europe. So you could almost say that some of the early ideas of modern architecture were already forming there. And that raises a question. And the question is this: what exactly was Peter Behrens teaching? And that question naturally leads to another one. What kind of thinking did he have in mind? As you may know, I always like to go back to the fundamentals, the roots of things. And this is where Behrens becomes very interesting. By the early 20th century, Europe was already industrializing rapidly. Factories were everywhere. They were functioning, they worked, but most of them were still built in a very traditional way, even though materials like steel and glass were already changing how buildings could be constructed. The architectural thinking had not really caught up yet. And Behrens began to see something didn't quite make sense. If industry itself was completely new, why were factories still being designed with old ideas? Around that time, a major German electrical company called AEG hired Peter Behrens, not only to design buildings, but to work closely with the company's industrial development. And this changed everything, because now he was not designing from distance. He was working directly with the realities of production, the machines, the structure, the materials, the way the factory actually operates. And this experience pushed architecture to confront a very practical question: what is the true purpose of the building? So when Behrens approached factory design, he did not start with style. Instead, he asked a very simple question: what does this building truly need to be? He looked carefully at the real conditions of the factory, the machines inside, the structural span required to support those machines, the need for daylight for workers, and the possibilities offered by steel construction. From that understanding, the architecture began to take shape. Instead of hiding the structure, he revealed it. If you look at AEG Turbine Factory, the structure is completely visible. Steel frames, large glass surfaces, and the power of industry clearly expressed. The building does not try to pretend to be something else. It simply expresses what it really is, a place of production. And this approach became extremely influential, because inside Behrens' office, young architects were watching and learning. Gropius, Mies, and others were exposed to a completely new way of thinking about architecture, where the purpose of the building comes first. That is exactly where the idea of design beyond form begins.